So yesterday, July 1st, 2016 was a really crappy day for gun owners in the state of California. Gunpocalypse passed. Jerry Brown signed 6 out of the 11 bills that were on his desk. He released a completely disingenuous, Jerry Brown did, released a completely disingenuous statement when in his signing of these, and I'll read that real quick. He lists off the bills that he signed in the past, and he says, "My goal in signing these bills is to enhance public safety by tightening our existing laws in a responsible and focused manner while protecting the rights of law-abiding owners." Gun owners. Signed, Jerry Brown. So let's talk about the bills that he actually signed and passed. AB 1135 or SB 880, basically the same law. It was dubbed the assault weapons bill. California's had an assault weapons ban for decades. This was just a rewording of the existing assault weapons ban so that it now includes all guns that have a bullet button on them. Didn't outlaw any new guns. They will no longer be able to sell guns equipped with bullet buttons in California. And according to the law, the way it's written, anybody who has a gun with an existing bullet button on it is going to be required to register that gun as an assault weapon in California. So let's talk about a couple things here. They've already come out with a couple of workarounds to avoid this. One of them is the whole featureless rifle. I did a video a while back. It was titled Bullet Button Silliness. You can convert your gun with a bullet button to a featureless rifle, which no longer requires a bullet button, and it also will allow you to avoid registering your rifle as an assault weapon. The inventor of the Prince 50 mag lock and the original bullet button has come out with another invention of his that will also get around the bullet button law. Essentially, it replaces the magazine release with a different mag release, and in order to operate the mag release, you have to crack open the receiver, which is the way the law is written. You have to disassemble the gun by dismantling the receiver in order to remove the magazine. So by cracking open the receiver, pulling the rear takedown pin on an AR-15, it allows you to release the magazine at that point. So there's a couple of workarounds. There's also, for people like me who own a California legal Tavor, there's a benefit to this new law passing. Because now I'm going to be able to register my assault weapon, my Tavor. If I register that as an assault weapon in California, it gives me a couple of benefits. Since it would now be in a registered assault weapon, I can, one, remove the magazine lock device that's installed on that weapon. So now I'd actually have a functional magazine release on it. And the other benefit is I can take off that 5-inch barrel extension that they put on it in order to make it California legal. California's minimal rifle length of 30 inches is part of the assault weapons bill. So once that gun is a registered assault weapon, it's no longer required to exceed that minimal that minimal overall gun length, and so I can take off that silly, ridiculous extension on the end of the barrel. So I'll probably be registering my Tavor. Any other ARs that I may or may not own are going to end up being converted to featureless rifles. All right, let's get on. Senate Bill 1235, SB 1235, was the ammo ban. Kevin Ghost Gun De Leon is at it again. This bill requires background checks and licensing in order to purchase ammunition. Because, criminals who are getting their guns illegally are out. They won't be able to find a way to buy ammo. It's ridiculous. It's going to cost the state millions of dollars to set up a new database, to establish all these licensing requirements. It's going to put gun owners into yet another database in the state of California. It's absolutely ridiculous. And it's going to cost the state, a broke state, millions of dollars. And will absolutely do nothing to reduce crime. So, let's get beyond that. Senate Bill 1446, the high-capacity magazine ban. High-cap magazines have been illegal in California for decades as well. However, the original law that outlawed them allowed grandfathering of the magazines that were owned at the time. So if you had AR-15 mags, 30-round AR mags, back when the original mag ban passed, you were allowed to keep them and use them. This new bill requires you to get rid of them. You can either destroy them, turn them into law enforcement, or get them out of the state. So they don't give a crap about personal property rights any longer, apparently. And violation of that law is going to be a whopping infraction. Yeah, you got that. It's an infraction. Varying fines. They range from, I think it was $100 for the first offense, $250 for the second offense, and then following offenses are $500. Because, criminals out there that are committing the actual violent crime in the state are really concerned about getting nailed with an infraction and a $100 fine. All right, going beyond that. AB 1511, the Firearms Lending Bill. Because, it's now, what this law does is it makes it illegal for anyone to lend a firearm to someone who is not an immediate family member. For that matter, as far as I can tell, it makes it a felony. I could be wrong on that, but in reading it, it appears to be a felony. So if one of my coworkers wants to borrow a gun, I now have to go to a FFL dealer and do a transfer on it to let him borrow it, and then he has to do a transfer to give it back to me. It's now a felony for me to just loan a gun to one of my coworkers who I've known for 20 years. It's beyond me what the logic was for passing this. All right, let's talk about some of the bills that Jerry Brown vetoed. Senate Bill 894, which was a law or a bill that was going to require folks to immediately report the theft of a firearm upon discovering the theft. And if they didn't report it within whatever the magic time frame that they said, I believe it was 15 days. I could be wrong. I don't recall the time frame. But if they didn't report it, then they were actually guilty of a crime. AB 1673, the Unfinished Frame Receiver Bill. This was a bill that was aimed at trying to outlaw 80% receivers. And the law was, the bill was so loosely written that it covered everything all the way down to a 0% receiver, which if you're not familiar with what a 0% receiver is, let me grab one. This right here, this large billet of aluminum, is a 0% receiver. So this law was so poorly written that it was going to outlaw just large blocks of aluminum, large blocks, you can build guns out of plastic, so large blocks of plastic would also have been illegal. Next bill, AB 1674, it was dubbed the 1 in 30 law. This bill was going to make it illegal for you to attempt to purchase more than one rifle every 30 days. So if you went in to purchase two guns, say you were getting yourself and your son a shotgun because you guys were going to go duck hunting, you'd have to wait and buy one every month. You couldn't just buy them both at the same time. Because, criminals are out buying guns at gun stores. Anyway, I don't understand what the logic for that one was. Let's get the last bill that he vetoed, AB 1176. I don't recall what they had dubbed this one, but basically it was the gun theft felony law. Back 2 years ago now, when the idiot California voters passed Prop 47, it reduced the theft of a firearm from what was a felony down to a misdemeanor. Based on the value of the gun. So if the gun was worth $950 or less, it's now a misdemeanor to steal that gun or be in possession of that stolen gun. If it is valued over $950, it was still a felony. This bill sought to make all gun thefts, no matter the value of the gun, a felony. This is the only bill in this entire package that actually made sense, that actually would have done something to not necessarily reduce crime, but to at least punish the criminals, not punishing law-abiding gun owners. This was the only bill that made any sense as a gun owner and as a cop, and Jerry Brown vetoed it. I was reading this morning when I was putting my notes together to do this video, I stumbled upon an article on the New York Times. and it was talking about, it was one of their, surprisingly, articles that was trying to push gun control. And there was a quote in there that jumped out at me really quickly, and I'm going to read it. It says, gun death rates fell 56% in California from 1993 and 2010, a larger decline than the nation as a whole, according to a study by Law Center to Prevent Gun Violence. Shocking. Gun control advocates pointed to that as evidence that such laws were effective. Okay, first off, if you don't know what the Law Center to Prevent Gun Violence is, they're just like Shannon's Demanding Moms and Every Town for Gun Safety in America, you know, Bloomberg's Pocket People. It's just another one of those groups that's out there trying to ram down gun control laws. Anyway, so what they're saying is that they're suggesting that the gun laws in California are the reason that the gun deaths reduced at a more rapid rate in California during that time frame than in the rest of the nation. That's a bunch of bullshit. What also happened during that time frame is California had enacted 3 strikes laws. Violent criminals were getting locked up and stuck in prison for longer time frames. They weren't out on the streets. They were not out there to commit these crimes. That's why the violent crime rate, the violent death rate, homicide rate during that time frame dropped more rapidly than in the rest of the country. It had nothing to do with the gun control laws. Those existing gun control laws are still in place. The ones that were in place back then are still in place. However, in the last several years, ever since Jerry Brown signed into law AB 109, the Prison Realignment Act, and California voters voted into law Prop 47, the Safe Schools and Neighborhoods Act, thousands and thousands of criminals have been released onto the streets. Not surprisingly, the violent crime rate has risen in California. Same gun laws are in place, violent crime rate going up. What's the difference? More criminals on the streets. According to the FBI, between 2014 and 2015, California saw a 15% increase in violent crime. That is huge in 1 year. This has nothing to do with gun laws. It has to do with locking up bad people who commit crime. I don't understand why the Democrats cannot figure that out. So just let me sum up here real quick. Jerry Brown just passed a whole bunch of laws that are going to do absolutely nothing to stop criminals or punish criminals. Laws don't stop criminals, they only punish people. They don't prevent crime. They just punish people who've committed crimes. So let's just get that clear in the first place. He is releasing felons from prisons every year. AB 109 is still in effect, and it's requiring prisons to reduce their population. So they're releasing criminals early. So they're releasing prisons to save money. That's the only reason they're doing it. The state is in massive debt. Our budget is always shot in California. We spend money on... Jerry Brown is out there spending billions of dollars on this stupid high-speed train to nowhere. It's his pet project because he likes trains. So he's spending billions of dollars on that. We're releasing criminals onto the streets. The state's got a massive drought problem. We have not built any new reservoirs in this state since 1979, yet during the same time frame our population has doubled. Gee, I wonder why we're having problems with the water supply. The only bill on his desk that would have actually done something to help reduce crime, he vetoed. I just don't get it. The Democrats in this state, the ones who are writing these laws and the ones who are signing them into law, they coddle the criminals. The people they could have actually punished for committing crimes, they're coddling, and they are doing everything they can in their power to make life harder for law-abiding gun owners. There is no logic behind what they do. The only thing that makes any sense, hang on, let me put on my tinfoil hat, the only thing that justifies any of this stuff is that they're actually out there trying to take away all of our guns.